Catalan is a Romance language named for its origins in Catalonia, in what is northeastern Spain and adjoining parts of France. It is the national and only official language of Andorra, and a co-official language of the Spanish autonomous communities of Catalonia, the Balearic Islands, and the Valencian Community. It also has semi-official status in the city of Alghero on the Italian island of Sardinia. It is also spoken with no official recognition in parts of the Spanish autonomous communities of Aragon and Murcia, and in the historic French region of Roussillon, northern Catalonia, roughly equivalent to the department of Pyrenees Orientales. According to the Statistical Institute of Catalonia in 2008, the Catalan language is the second most commonly used in Catalonia, after Spanish, as a native or self-defining language. The Generalitat of Catalunya spends part of its annual budget on the promotion of the use of Catalan in Catalonia and in other territories. Catalan evolved from Vulgar Latin around the Eastern Pyrenees in the 9th century. During the Low Middle Ages it saw a golden age as the literary and dominant language of the Crown of Aragon, and was widely used all over the Mediterranean. The union of Aragon with the other territories of Spain in 1479 marked the start of the decline of the language. In 1659 Spain ceded northern Catalonia to France, and Catalan was banned in both states in the early 18th century. 19th century Spain saw a Catalan literary revival, which culminated in the 1913 orthographic standardization, and the officialization of the language during the Second Spanish Republic. However, the Francois dictatorship banned the language again. Since the Spanish transition to democracy, Catalan has been recognized as an official language, language of education, and language of mass media, all of which have contributed to its increased prestige. There is no parallel in Europe of such a large, bilingual, non-state speech community. Catalan dialects are relatively uniform, and are mutually intelligible. They are divided into two blocks, Eastern and Western, differing mostly in pronunciation. The terms Catalan and Valencian are two different names for the same language. There are two institutions regulating two standard varieties: the Institute of Catalan Studies in Catalonia and the Valencian Academy of the Language in Valencia. The two standards are based on the same orthographical norms, and the differences are similar to those between British and American English. Catalan shares many traits with its neighboring Romance languages. However, despite being mostly situated in the Iberian Peninsula, Catalan differs more from Iberian Romance in terms of vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar than from Gallo-Romance. These similarities are most notable with Occitan. Catalan has an inflectional grammar, with two genders, and two numbers. Pronouns are also inflected for case, animacy and politeness, and can be combined in very complex ways. Verbs are split in several paradigms and are inflected for person, number, tense, aspect, mood, and gender. In terms of pronunciation, Catalan has many words ending in a wide variety of consonants and some consonant clusters, in contrast with many other Romance languages. Etymology and pronunciation. The word Catalan derives from the territory of Catalonia, itself of disputed etymology. The main theory suggests that Catalunya derives from the name Gothia or Gauthia, since the origins of the Catalan counts, lords and people were found in the March of Gothia, whence Gothland greater than Gothlandia greater than Gothalanya greater than Catalonia theoretically derived. In English, the term referring to a person first appears in the mid-14th century as Catalana, followed in the 15th century as Catalane. It is attested a language name since at least 1652. Catalan can be pronounced as Catalan, Keatlane, or Catalan. The endonym is pronounced /k.tala in the Eastern Catalan dialects, and /k.tala in the Western dialects. In the Valencian community, the term Valencia is frequently used instead. The names Catalan and Valencian are two names for the same language. See also status of Valencian below. History. Middle Ages. By the 9th century, Catalan had evolved from Vulgar Latin on both sides of the eastern end of the Pyrenees, as well as the territories of the Roman province of Hispania Tarraconensis to the south. From the 8th century onwards, the Catalan counts extended their territory southwards and westwards at the expense of the Muslims, bringing their language with them. This process was given definitive impetus with the separation of the county of Barcelona from the Carolingian Empire in 988. In the 11th century, documents written in Macaronic Latin begin to show Catalan elements, with texts written almost completely in Romance appearing by 1080. Old Catalan shared many features with Gallo-Romance, diverging from Old Occitan between the 11th and 14th centuries. During the 11th and 12th centuries, the Catalan rulers expanded up to north of the Ebro River, and in the 13th century they conquered the land of Valencia and the Balearic Islands. The city of Alguero in Sardinia was repopulated with Catalan speakers in the 14th century. The language also reached Murcia, which became Spanish-speaking in the 15th century. In the Low Middle Ages, Catalan went through a golden age, reaching a peak of maturity and cultural richness. Examples include the work of Mallorcan polymath Ramon Lull, the Four Great Chronicles, and the Valencian school of poetry culminating in Ozias March. By the 15th century, the city of Valencia had become the socio-cultural center of the Crown of Aragon, and Catalan was present all over the Mediterranean world. During this period, the royal chancery propagated a highly standardized language. Catalan was widely used as an official language in Sicily until the 15th century, and in Sardinia until the 17th. During this period, the language was what Costa Carreras terms one of the great languages of medieval Europe. Martorell's outstanding novel of chivalry Tyrant Le Blanc shows a transition from medieval to Renaissance values, something that can also be seen in Maix's work. The first book produced with movable type in the Iberian Peninsula was printed in Catalan. Start of the modern era. With the union of the crowns of Castile and Aragon, the use of Spanish gradually became more prestigious. Starting in the 16th century, Catalan literature experienced a decline. The language came under the influence of Spanish, and the urban and literary classes became bilingual. French state. 18th to 20th centuries. With the Treaty of the Pyrenees, Spain ceded the northern part of Catalonia to France, and soon thereafter the local Catalan varieties came under the influence of French, which in 1700 became the sole official language of the region. Shortly after the French Revolution, the French First Republic prohibited official use of, and enacted discriminating policies against, the non-standard languages of France, such as Catalan, Alsatian, Breton, Occitan, Flemish, and Basque. Following the French capture of Algeria, that region saw several waves of Catalan-speaking settlers. People from the Spanish Alicante province settled around Oran, whereas Algiers received immigration from northern Catalonia and Minorca. Their speech was known as Patuet. By 1911, the number of Catalan speakers was around 100,000. After the declaration of independence of Algeria in 1962, almost all the Catalan speakers fled to northern Catalonia or Alicante. Nowadays, France only recognizes French as an official language. Nevertheless, on 10 December 2007, the General Council of the Pyrenees Oriental officially recognized Catalan as one of the languages of the department and seeks to further promote it in public life and education. Spanish state. 18th to 20th centuries. The decline of Catalan continued in the 16th and 17th centuries. The Catalan defeat in the War of Spanish Succession initiated a series of measures imposing the use of Spanish in legal documentation. In parallel, however, the 19th century saw a Catalan literary revival, which has continued up to the present day. This period starts with Arabor's Ode to the Homeland, followed in the second half of the 19th century, and the early 20th by the work of Verdaguer, Oller, and Guimera. In the 19th century, the region of Carche, in the province of Murcia, was repopulated with Catalan speakers from the land of Valencia. The Second Spanish Republic saw a brief period of tolerance, with most restrictions against Catalan being lifted. Present day. Since the Spanish transition to democracy, Catalan has been institutionalized as an official language, language of education, and language of mass media, all of which have contributed to its increased prestige. In Catalonia, there is no parallel of a large, bilingual, European, non-state speech community. The teaching of Catalan is mandatory in all schools, but it is possible to use Spanish for studying in the public education system of Catalonia in two situations. If the teacher assigned to a class chooses to use Spanish, or during the learning process of one or some recently arrived students. There is also some intergenerational shift towards Catalan. In Andorra, Catalan has always been the sole official language. Since the promulgation of the 1993 Constitution, several Andorranization policies have been in force, like Catalan medium education. On the other hand, there are several language shift processes currently taking place. In northern Catalonia, Catalan has followed the same trend as the other minority languages of France, with most of its native speakers being 60 or older. Catalan is studied as a foreign language by 30% of the primary education students, and by 15% of the secondary. The Cultural Association La Bressola promotes a network of community-run schools engaged in Catalan language immersion programs. In the Alicante province, Catalan is being replaced by Spanish, and in Alghero by Italian. There are also well-ingrained diglossic attitudes against Catalan in the Valencian community, Ibiza, and to a lesser extent, in the rest of the Balearic Islands. Classification and relationship with other Romance languages. The ascription of Catalan to the Occitano-Romance branch of Gallo-Romance languages is not shared by all linguists and philologists, particularly among Spanish ones, such as Ramon Menendez Pidal. According to Pere-Beck, its specific classification is as follows: Romance languages, Italo-Western languages, Western Romance languages, Gallo-Iberian languages, Gallo-Romance languages, Occitano-Romance languages. Catalan language. Catalan bears varying degrees of similarity to the linguistic varieties subsumed under the cover term Occitan language. Thus, as it should be expected from closely related languages, Catalan today shares many traits with other Romance languages. Relationship with other Romance languages. Catalan shares many traits with the other neighboring Romance languages. However, despite being mostly situated in the Iberian Peninsula, Catalan has marked differences with the Ibero-Romance group in terms of pronunciation, grammar, and especially vocabulary, showing instead its closest affinity with Occitan and to a lesser extent Gallo-Romance. According to Ethnologue, the lexical similarity between Catalan and other Romance languages is 87% with Italian, 85% with Portuguese, 80% with Spanish, 76% with Leiden, 75% with Sardinian, and 73% with Romanian. During much of its history, and especially during the Francois dictatorship, the Catalan language has often been degraded as a mere dialect of Spanish. This view, based on political and ideological considerations, has no linguistic validity. Spanish and Catalan have important differences in their sound systems, lexicon, and grammatical features, placing the language in a number of respects closer to Occitan. There is evidence that, at least from the A.D. 2nd century, the vocabulary and phonology of Roman Tarraconensis was different from the rest of Roman Hispania. Differentiation has arisen generally because Spanish, Asturian, and Galician Portuguese share certain peripheral archaisms and innovatory regionalisms, while Catalan has a shared history with the Western Romance innovative core, especially Occitan. The Germanic superstrate has had different outcomes in Spanish and Catalan. For example, Catalan fang, mud, and rostia, to roast, of Germanic origin, contrast with Spanish lodo and asar. The same happens with Arabic loanwords. Thus, Catalan alfabia, large earthenware jar, and rajola, tile, of Arabic origin, contrast with Spanish tinaja and tija, of Latin origin, whereas Catalan oil, and oliva, olive, of Latin origin, contrast with Spanish aceit and aceituna. However, the Arabic element in Spanish is generally much more prevalent. Situated between two large linguistic blocks, Catalan has many unique lexical choices, such as enyorrar, to miss somebody, apaivagar, to calm down somebody, or rebutjar, reject. Geographic distribution. Catalan-speaking territories. These territories are sometimes referred to as the Països Catalans, a denomination, based on cultural affinity and common heritage, that has also had a subsequent political interpretation but no official status. Various interpretations of the term may include some or all of these regions. Number of speakers. The number of people known to be fluent in Catalan varies depending on the sources used. A 2004 study did not count the total number of speakers, but estimated a total of 9–9.5 million by matching the percentage of speakers to the population of each area where Catalan is spoken. The website of the Generalitat de Catalunya estimated that as of 2004 there were 9,118,882 speakers of Catalan. These figures only reflect potential speakers. Today it is the native language of only 35.6% of the Catalan population. According to Ethnologue, Catalan had 4 million native speakers and 5 million second-language speakers in 2012. The most important social characteristic of the Catalan language is that all the areas where it is spoken are bilingual in practice, together with the French language in Roussillon, with Italian in Alghero, with Spanish and French in Andorra, and with Spanish in the rest of the territories. 1. The number of people who understand Catalan includes those who can speak it. 2. Figures relate to all self-declared capable speakers, not just native speakers. Level of knowledge of the Catalan language. Social use. Native language phonology. The Catalan phonology varies depending on the dialect. Notable features include marked contrast of the vowel pairs, e and o, like in other Western Romance languages, except Spanish. Lack of nasalized vowels, unlike Portuguese or French. Lack of diphthongization of Latin short e, o, like in Galician and Portuguese, and unlike French, Spanish and Italian. Abundance of diphthongs containing with, like in Galician and Portuguese. In contrast with other Romance languages, Catalan has many monosyllabic words, and those ending in a wide variety of consonants and some consonant clusters. Also, Catalan has final obstruent devoicing, thus featuring many couplets like amic versus amiga. Central Catalan is considered the standard pronunciation of the language. The descriptions below are mostly for this variety. For the differences in pronunciation of the different dialects, see the section Pronunciation of Dialects in this article. Vowels. Catalan has inherited the typical vowel system of Vulgar Latin, with 7 stressed phonemes, a common feature in Western Romance, except Spanish. Balearic has also instances of stress, e. Dialects differ in the different degrees of vowel reduction, and the incidence of the pair e. In Central Catalan, unstressed vowels reduced to 3. A greater than e, ou greater than u, I remains distinct. The other dialects have different vowel reduction processes. Consonants. The consonant system of Catalan is rather conservative, shared with most modern Western Romance languages. L has a velarized allophone in syllable coda position in most dialects. However, L is velarized irrespective of position in Eastern dialects like Mallorcan and Standard Eastern Catalan. V occurs in Balearic, Algerici, Standard Valencian and some areas in southern Catalonia. It has merged with B elsewhere. Voiced obstruents undergo final obstruent devoicing. B greater than P, D greater than T, greater than K. Voice stops become lenited to approximants in syllable onsets, after continuance. B greater than beta, D greater than th, greater than. Exceptions include D after lateral consonants, and B after F. In coda position, these sounds are realized as stops, except in some Valencian dialects where they are lenited. There is some confusion in the literature about the precise phonetic characteristics of T, D. Some sources describe them as post-alveolar, others as back-alveolo-palatal, implying that the characters CZ, TC, DZ would be more accurate. However, in all literature only the characters for palatal alveolar affricates and fricatives are used, even when the same sources use CZ for other languages like Polish and Chinese. The distribution of the two rhotics, R and R, closely parallels that of Spanish. Between vowels, the two contrast, but they are otherwise in complementary distribution. In the onset, R appears unless preceded by a consonant. Dialects vary in regards to rhotics in the coda, with Western Catalan generally featuring R, and Central Catalan dialects featuring a weakly trilled R, unless it precedes a vowel initial word in the same prosodic unit, in which case R appears. In careful speech, N per meter, L may be geminated. Geminated may also occur. Some analyze intervocalic R as the result of gemination of a single rhotic phoneme. This is similar to the common analysis of Spanish and Portuguese rhotics.